I know Deion Sanders can walk into any top defensive backs room in the country right now. They're committed to Ohio State. They're committed to Alabama. They're committed to this. Boo, 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 boo. Doesn't matter. He can walk in and flip anybody because of that's how much gravitas he has. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, EA college football, pro football, Madden, anything related to American football, subscribe to this channel right now. You will not be disappointed. Please hit the red subscribe button. It's free to you. Won't cost you anything. All it's going to be costing you is being up to date on all of those things we mentioned. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, I'm a single guy over here, and there is something that happens every kind of late fall, early winter kind of. There's a season that happens, and I think it's actually very appropriate with what is happening in college football right now. It's a concept called cuffing season. Let's go into an explanation on what that is, because I'm telling you right now, it's currently college football coach cuffing season. Here we are on Google. So cuffing season refers to a period of time where single people begin looking for short-term partnerships to pass the colder months of the year. Cuffing season usually begins October and lasts until just after Valentine's Day. Basically, it's getting a little bit colder. People aren't going to be outside as much anymore. You don't want to be lonely all winter long, so you want to make sure you cuff somebody, get cuffed and attached in a relationship. Well, I'm telling you right now, it is cuffing season, because you're seeing articles come out left and right about what's going on with coaches. There's a lot of news. Get after it. Let's get going on a lot of those things. First of all, we'll start over in Mississippi with our dear friend Lane Kiffin. So there's a lot of news right now. Lane Kiffin to our Auburn is heating up. And it says the other day here that Lane Kiffin, just yesterday, meets with Ole Miss players amid speculation. So from Chris Lowe of ESPN.com, he says, amid speculation, he's leaving for Auburn head coaching job. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin met with his players Tuesday and assured them that he hasn't accepted a job at any other school, sources told ESPN. Kiffin, as a rule, doesn't respond to coaching rumors, but told ESPN that he felt that he owed it to his players and their parents to formally address the situation after a report surfaced Monday by WCBI-TV in Columbus, Mississippi, that Kiffin planned to step down Friday and head to Auburn. WCBI-TV also reported that Auburn has yet officially offered anyone the job. As right here from sources talking to ESPN, he told his players to focus on Mississippi State and nothing else, that any reports out there about his accepting another offer were totally false. Ole Miss faces Mississippi State on Thursday night in their annual Egg Bowl rivalry in Oxford on Thanksgiving Day. It says here that Kiffin and Liberty's, also former Ole Miss head coach Hugh Freeze, are at the forefront of Auburn's head coaching search. Remember, Hugh Freeze just got a big extension himself. However, I'm telling you, if I know Auburn like I know Auburn, they are 100% willing to just chuck money at the situation. They've paid, something to the effect of $50,000 a day for the last 2 years to have their coaches not coach for them. Imagine what they're going to do to pay for some coach to coach for them. I'm doing my thing about Auburn. Sorry, I can't get over it, man. Kiffin also was asked here, and he says, so I don't know anything about that stuff out there. He says, maybe if they watched the first half, I wouldn't be number one anymore. Talking about the loss to Arkansas this last week when they lost 42-27. But remember that report that came out on Twitter was this one right here. So this is from WCBI News sports director covering Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and high school sports. He says, John Sokoloff says, Ole Miss head coach plans to step down as the Rebels coach Friday and head to Auburn to become the next Tigers head coach, according to sources. Sources say the Tigers haven't officially offered the job to anyone yet, so Lane to Auburn is happening, story soon. And then Lane Kiffin responded, and I love Twitter for this, that's news to me, John. Nice sources. And then a cross-out emoji, a devil frowny emoji, a chair, and a plate for eating food. I don't know, you're sitting down and you're upset. I really don't know what the situation here is, but he definitely disagrees with this whole situation. And remember here, like I said, there's a lot of people that are looking out there for head coaching positions right now. Nebraska is one of them. Georgia Tech's another one. Colorado's out there. Arizona State too. So you see a couple of these things like Nebraska's coaching search turns to Lance Leipold, Kalen DeBoer, if Matt Rule indeed withdrew name. And again, we don't know about that too, but the two names that were listed there, Lance Leipold over at Kansas, surprisingly having a pretty good season here. Again, from Wisconsin, Whitewater goes over to Kansas, does a pretty good job there. Lose a couple games after they lose their quarterback, but they're still a good, solid team. Kalen DeBoer comes over from Fresno State to Washington, really turns that program around. Washington was down bad last year, lost to Montana at home. I know Montana's a decent team, but at the same time, it is still an FCS team that's only allowed, I think, 70 scholarships. So there's a definite discrepancy. You should not be losing to Montana at home in a game where you paid for them to go and visit you. But Lance Leipold, Kalen DeBoer, both mentioned, and guess what happened to both of them? Well, Kansas rewards Lance Leipold with a contract extension through 2029. Again, right here, he's doing pretty good. He's 58. He has resuscitated the Jayhawks program in just his second season, leading Kansas to a 6-5 record. They do play in the Sunflower, I think it's called the Sunflower Bowl, against Kansas State. Kansas State looks like they're favored in that, and I'm going to be picking Kansas State to win that game. Future video we're going to have releasing tomorrow morning on Thanksgiving Day. But again, Lance Leipold got an extension. Remember, like I said, cuffing season. Okay, people are out there who want to get their head coaches locked up because lots of teams are looking. And we also go over to Kalen DeBoer too. Washington gives football coach Kalen DeBoer an extension, and partially it makes me think that, those reports that Nebraska was interested in Lance Leipold and Kalen DeBoer, part of me thinks that those were, how do I say this, pushed by Kalen DeBoer and Lance Leipold to get extensions. Now, I know that basically just once you turn the heat up on a prospect, all that money that comes with it too, and the interest. Washington head coach Kalen DeBoer, who has led the Huskies to a 9-2 record in his first year, they were not 9-2 last year, has agreed to a contract extension through the 2028 season. The university announced, and again, he was hired by Fresno State in December of 2021. He initially agreed to a 5-year contract worth up to 16.5. Washington, which finished 4-8 last year, won its first 4 games under DeBoer and enters the Apple Cup against rival Washington State on a 5-game win streak that includes a road victory against number 12 Oregon. So looking really good down here. The Huskies lead FBS in passing offense, 366 a game, and ranks 7th nationally in scoring under DeBoer, who was 28-3 in his 3 seasons as an FBS coach. And again, Washington moved up to number 13 in Tuesday's college football playoff rankings. So Washington doing pretty good, 9-2, cannot fault that. And you see the fact that Kalen DeBoer, just like Lance Leipold, are cashing in on, let's just say, how thirsty some programs are out there. And I want to bring this to everybody's attention here because right now it's November 23rd. So think about this, November 28th, the day after the rivalry week and before conference championship week, you see this move. Lincoln Riley goes from Oklahoma to USC. Brian Kelly goes from Notre Dame to LSU. It's typical for some reason. They like to get this done after the regular season is over, but before conference championship week, get them in, get them starting to recruit. A big reason why, though, I know an alternate reason is the fact that mid-December is when the early signing window is. So you want to get them in there, get them assigned to a team, get them rolling on recruiting and things like that. But you see this, I'm telling you, that's the reason why after these next games this season, we're going to see on Sunday and we're going to see on Monday, there's going to be a lot of head coaching hirings and firings and this and that, boom, 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 boom. There's going to be lots of movement, especially high-profile coaches at smaller programs going to big programs coaches who are dissatisfied of firing their coaches. We're going to see a lot more of that happen. I think personally, though, there's going to be a lot more pulls from the big schools are going to pull more coaches in, I should say, than a lot of people firing their coaches. Because you see, like Nebraska, they fired their coach way early in the situation, whereas they're going to hire one probably pretty soon because they got to get a head start on recruiting and things like that. And one name to watch, I am telling you, this is a name to watch because Jackson State is undefeated right now. They are projected to play in the Celebration Bowl. They're not projected actually to play in the FCS National Championship tournament. They could still win the national championship, ironically, if they have enough votes. And their team is absolutely stacked. But you see the fact that he is going to be mentioned a lot too because, granted, no offense to the Celebration Bowl, but if Colorado or South Florida shows up with enough cheddar cheese, Deion Sanders is going to leave for them. There's a couple reports about that. There's talks about, like I said, South Florida. There was an obstacle, it said, from one of his old academies that he had where a couple people were academically ineligible. There's that thing might resurface. So you can see the fact that the ball is rolling one way or another. Deion Sanders is going to be crossing a lot of AD's lists, especially the short lists of who to hire on. The man knows how to lead young men. The man knows how to recruit. Whether or not he can get past his former situations, I think he should, especially with some of these bigger programs who are like, let's get a winner in here. I know Deion Sanders can walk into any top defensive backs room in the country right now. They're committed to Ohio State. They're committed to Alabama. They're committed to this. Boo, 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 boo. Doesn't matter. He can walk in and flip anybody because of that's how much gravitas he has. That gravitas, coupled with the fact that he knows how to put together a team, lead young men. He's going to be a name we're going to be hearing, I bet, more than likely either Sunday or Monday to an FBS program. Like I said, cuffing season, man. There's a lot of thirsty people out there. They're trying to get warm in the wintertime. They're trying to make sure they're covered. But that's what's going on right now. I want you guys to know. Get in the comments right now. I want to hear your perspectives on who's going to get cuffed, who's going to get brought over, which programs, who do you see who going where, who do you think's also in the next couple of days going to sign an extension to try and get themselves to keep somebody. What do you think is going to happen, guys? Get in the comments right now and let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I am out.